Welcome to another Highland League weekly preview show, and here's Paul Third to tell you all you need to know about this weekend's big game.
Our main game on Monday will be the GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup first round tie at Spain Park between Banks of Dee and Forest Mechanics. Banks of Dee are the cup holders, of course, having lifted the trophy back in April thanks to a 1-0 win over Inverurie Locos at Bersley Park in Fraserburgh. And both teams are in good form going into this one. Banks of Dee's 6-0 win at Strathspey Thistle on Saturday means it's 10 points out of a possible 12 so far in the Breedon Highland League. Forest Mechanics, meanwhile, bounced back from their first defeat at Buckie by beating Keith 2-1 to make it 3 wins out of 4. You can see how this intriguing first round tie pans out in Monday's Highland League Weekly.
Competition time then. First of all, we must tie up last week's Highland League Weekly preview competition. The question was, Gary Manson last week made his 700th appearance for Wick Academy, but when did he make his first? We wanted the year. The year was 2000. The winner that we selected at random from 5 correct answers was Kieran Adams. What is unclear is whether it's the same Kieran Adams that plays for Martin United. Hopefully it is, because that would make Kieran, I think, the first active Highland League player to possess the Highland League Weekly mug. Kieran, get in touch at sport@prestonjournal.co.uk with your address, also confirming if you are big for Martin centre-back Kieran Adams, and we'll get this sent out to you. Maybe not this one, but a similar one. This week's question is, it's the GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup first round this weekend. Now, if you're paying attention during the preview show, you'll know the answer to this question. Which club has won the Highland League Cup the most times? Get in touch with your answer in the comments below by email at sport@prestonjournal.co.uk. Tell us if you want a mug or the Crystal Paul Highland League Weekly tea towel. If you prefer that, we don't get many requests for those, but maybe this week's the right week. Yeah, get in touch, tell us which clubs won the Highland League Cup the most times, and we'll announce the winner next week.
Our second game this week is the first round tie at Kyneth Park between Keith and Nairn County, and here are 3 things you need to know. This will be Nairn County's second game in the competition, having booked their place in the first round with a 1-0 win at Wick Academy in the preliminary round. This will be the first meeting of the sides this season, with both league encounters ending in draws in the last campaign. Keith go into this game with 4 points so far from the league, while Nairn County have yet to get off the mark. With 10 Highland League Cup titles to their name, no club has won this competition more than the Maroons. Nairn County, however, are going in search of a 5th cup win.
You know, it's not a dictatorship, that's for sure. It's putting these people in place and letting them lead. And then I'm there for them to bounce ideas off of. I'll give them ideas. We'll just talk generally about football. You know, Andy and I have been pretty close since he's came on board, and pretty much speak every day. Just generally about football, but you know, he bounces ideas off of me, and just to get maybe a third opinion, whatever it might be. But as I say, the crux of what I do is to look after all the football operations off of the pitch.
Right, it's time for our regular Crystal Paul prediction section. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with my hands. Last week, of course, this is becoming very confusing because last week I was casting the role of Crystal Paul. This week I'm back on the opposition side.
But nothing's changing, Ryan.
But the score is, it's 11 to the opposition, me and Callum, 4 to Crystal Paul. I let you down last week. I got both results right, but the actual score lines, Callum, unfortunately, for the Crystal Paul side of things, he got 1-1 between Formartine and Buckie Thistle correct, so that gave him 4 points last week, and I only got the 2 points for my team.
Except I got the 2 points.
Well, you got the 2 points. Yeah, it's very confusing, but the scores have been on the bottom of the screen, so it should all tie up. Anyway, on to this week's predictions. Just a reminder that it will be 1 point if you get, the correct result, as I'm calling it, and 3 points instead if you get the correct score line. First game we've got to predict is the GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup tie between Banks of Dee and Forest Mechanics at Spain Park. Would you like to go first?
I'll have to.
Okay.
Just to give myself more options to pick from for not winning. Banks of Dee are very good at home. They're holders. I think they are going to progress, but Forest are going to push them hard here. I'm going to go 3-1 to Banks of Dee.
I think the scoreline, the pitch. I'm going to say it's going to be 4-2 to Banks of Dee. I was initially going to say a draw and then penalties, but you going for Banks of Dee win has sort of like for some reason sparked me going for Banks of Dee win as well. So yeah, 4-2 Banks of Dee. Second tie to discuss from this weekend's first round clashes. Keith against Nairn County. Which way is this one going to go?
Yeah, this is a funny one because league form would have you leaning towards Keith, but I think Nairn County might get off the mark here. I'm going to go for a scrappy 1-0 win for Nairn County.
So Nairn did win the preliminary round, so they have, this is the competition, but they've had much better.
I'm using league form to kind of guess.
But haven't scored a goal in the league. Conceded 8, haven't scored a goal in collecting no points in 4 games.
But it's a cup game.
It's at Keith, it's at Kennet Park. I'm going to say, what did you say?
1-0 to Nairn.
1-0 to Nairn. I'm going to say...
This is tough, isn't it? This is really tough this weekend.
Keith are going to win 2-1. The Catacks will want to do more in attack than they did in their 1-1 league draw at Lossiemouth last weekend. Meanwhile, Clacknacudd in this competition will be a tonic for Clack after a 4-loss start in the Breedon Highland League. What they'll need to stop doing to have any chance of progress this weekend is giving teams at least a couple of goals for a start.
Devon Vale and Fraserburgh go head to head for the second weekend running. The Banthurst pushed Fraserburgh all the way at Belsley last weekend before coming up short in a 3-2 defeat. But they'll be hoping home advantage can nudge them towards the second round this time out.
Buckie, they lost their flawless record in the league at the weekend when they drew 1-1 at Formartine United. However, it's still been a strong start from the Jags and they go into this cup tie as favourites against Turriff at Victoria Park. Turriff, though, have shown they carry a significant goal threat through the likes of Ewan Clark and John Allen in attack.
This is the second meeting of two Highland League titans, with Formartine looking to avenge their opening day 1-0 loss at Glebe Park, where they ended the match with 9 men. The champions, however, will be looking to go far in this competition.
Strathspey are another team for which the GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup will be a relief after a difficult start to league business. 4 losses for Strathspey, conceding 15 times and only scoring twice in the process. Lossiemouth, meanwhile, their draw with Brora Rangers at Grant Park at the weekend hinted at their potential under new boss Frank McGettrick. They'll be desperate to get through to give themselves a chance of silverware in this competition this season. Rothes go into this cup tie undefeated in 3 games and they recorded a solid 3-0 win at home to Wick Academy over the weekend. Inverurie Locos, meanwhile, they go into this tie at a low ebb. In their 4 league games so far, they haven't picked up a point. They've conceded 16 times. They've only scored 4 times. They progressed through the preliminary round in this competition when they beat Huntly 2-1 a couple of weekends ago, but they'll need to improve at both ends of the park to get by Rothes, it looks like. That's it for this week's Highland League Weekly preview show. Just a reminder that on Monday's episode of Highland League Weekly on the Press and Journal website, we'll have highlights of the GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup clashes between Banks of Dee and Forest Mechanics and Keith and Nairn County. In the meantime, please follow Highland League Weekly on Twitter. You can also join our Facebook group at Highland League Weekly. We're also on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. You can also sign up to our Highland League newsletters from the Press and Journal. There's a link to do that somewhere on this page and that will keep you up to date twice a week with all of our latest Breedon Highland League content and related good stuff. Till we see you again on Monday, and we hope you can join us for that Cup special. Please enjoy the football, whichever games you're watching this weekend.